Isn't it a delight to be in the greenest office building in the world, in the greenest state in the nation, doing the single greenest thing we can do to grow our economy, which is to stop carbon pollution. This is a great day. I believe we ought to be optimistic about our ability to whip climate change. I believe we ought to be confident in our ability to defeat ocean acidification. And I believe we ought to be resolute in our belief that we can outgrow our economy at the same time. And if anyone doubts our ability to do that, come see the Bullitt Center, where we grow jobs, the economy, and the evergreen state start right here. This is what we're doing here today. Maybe I'll surprise you. I've got a few things I'd like to say today. This is an exciting day. We have such a collection of leaders who've been working in so many ways with our legislators. I really appreciate those comments. We got Brendan, who's been doing great work, Gene Karpinski on a national level, Casey Golden. We have a great congressional delegation. Brian Baird, former congressman, has worked on ocean acidification. We have great leaders in the business community. We can do these things because we are a community that works together to the common good and understands the potential of Washingtonians. And this bill that I will sign today recognizes our great potential as a state. We are the people who are destined to defeat carbon pollution. And this bill is dedicated to that central tenet. We will defeat carbon pollution because there is no other option available to us as Washingtonians. And that's what this bill does. Look, there is no debate about the science of climate change, and there is no debate about the wisdom of this bill. That's why I'm happy to be signing it today. I just want to read one sentence, which is the heart of the bill, so people will understand what it does. It says, quote, "The purpose of the work group is to recommend a state program of actions and policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions that, if implemented, would ensure achievement of the state's emission targets," close quote. Our legislators stepped up to the plate a few years ago and said, we're going to reduce our carbon emissions to 1990 levels by the year 2020. With this bill, we're going to make sure that gets done. I want to take a moment to point our attention to Exhibit A of why we in Washington are so bold to think we can do this. And this building is Exhibit A about why we are bold and confident. This building is the first 6-story building in world history to have complete water containment with potable water through rainwater. First one in the world today, it's right here. This is the first 6-story building in the world to achieve the certificate of forest stewardship. It is the first building in the world to have composting toilets reach the 6th floor. This is the acme of human achievement. But there is one other stellar feature of this building that ought to give us confidence about this bill, and it is this. This is the first 6-story building in human history to be fully energy neutral, relying solely on solar energy from the roof, a solar-powered building right in Seattle. We can do this starting right with this building. This is what we're doing. I want to build on something Kevin Ranker said. There is no other option but action. Inaction is not an option for the state of Washington. And the reason is we are staring a huge bill in the face of Washingtonians that we're going to have to pay, and our children are going to have to pay, and our grandchildren are going to have to pay if we do not act. The no action option here means enormous hidden taxes for Washingtonians. And we are not going to let that happen. $10 billion of the costs of inaction due to the destruction of our habitat and our natural resource-dependent economies by the year 20 if we fail to act. There is no running and hiding from climate change. There is nowhere where Bill's company in the state of Washington can run and hide from ocean acidification. We have got to stand and deliver for Bill and the oysters of the state of Washington, and we're going to do that with this bill. So how do we do this? Well, I'll tell you what I stand for. I stand for solutions. I don't think we're going to live in a constrained world. I want an optimistic, expansive economy, and I believe we can achieve that. And this building is one of those reasons. Now look, I want to just note the science of why this bill makes sense, and why I believe ultimately we'll have a bipartisan success on this bill. Since the legislature acted in 2008, we've learned a few things about ocean acidification and climate change. And what we've learned is it's a lot worse than we thought. It's hitting us a lot faster than we thought. It's affecting more industries than we thought. July 2012 ended the hottest 12 months in United States records, dating back to the 1800s. Snowpack in Washington Cascades have declined 25% since 1950. Ocean acidification is also on the rise. Because of carbon pollution, the oceans have experienced a 30% increase in acidity since pre-industrial times. Now, I was at a STEM school in West Seattle the other day, the K through 5 on Boren STEM School. I saw first and second graders using pH litmus test paper to determine the acidity and base of water. And they understood the problem of ocean acidification in first grade. If first graders can do it in the state of Washington, so can legislators and governors in the state of Washington and solve this problem. That's what I would do. The reason that's important is if we don't act, this acidity will reach levels 150% over pre-industrial levels by the end of this century. And it's affecting multiple industries, including agriculture. The Yakima Basin is water short 14% of the time now. It's anticipated to be short 32% of the time by the year 2020. It's not just aquaculture that are affected. Now, there are still pockets of people who refuse to accept the science of ocean acidification or gravity. I understand that. But we are done arguing those kinds of issues. We now need to move forward to find a consensus about the solution to these problems. We're way past arguing about the problem statement. We need a bipartisan solution statement, and that's what this bill asks everyone to come forward and give us their ideas on how to do that. Bill Dewey understands that. Urban Everhart understands that as an irrigator. Fred Buckenheimer for the city of Anacortes understands it because they're concerned about sea level rise. Everybody should understand that, and this is what this bill does. It asks all Washingtonians to step up to the plate and become part of the solution. When we do this, we can do great things in the state of Washington, and fundamentally that's what this bill does. So I want to thank Perry for being here. I want to thank Rick and Missy Reichert from Clark County, who've improved the energy efficiency of over 10,000 homes. It's not just this building, it's 10,000 homes in Clark County. I want to thank Kevin Mass from Linden, where waste from his dairy farm is used to generate electricity and power his farm, plus sell electric power back to the grid. I want to thank Gary Schaefer. Now, we got a lot of jewels in the crown, but I think it's kind of cool to know that the single most durable solar cell anywhere on the planet today is made in Marysville, Washington by Silicon Energy. That's pretty cool, Gary. I'm really proud of that. And it's not just Gary. I was in Moses Lake Friday where I saw the REC company, the Western Hemisphere's largest manufacturer of silicon substrate to go under solar panels. Here's what this bill is. It's a way to jumpstart job creation in this state. This is what we're capable of. We're going to get it done with this bill. So I want to thank folks for being here. I want to thank you for your optimism. I want to ask you to talk to everyone you know after we sign this bill that I'm going to do in a few moments. When I sign this bill, it's an invitation to all of your friends and all of your colleagues and all of your neighbors to come together as 6.5 million Washingtonians and do what we do so well. We don't fight science, we embrace it. We don't follow the rest of the world, we lead it. Let's go lead the world in the state of Washington. Let's go sign it.